Hey everybody, welcome. Everybody awake now? Like, that's good between the worship and then the sound? Yeah. All right. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Jonathan, and I am normally right back there.
We love you, Jonathan!
Thank you. My kids are also here. I have two kids. Owen is back there somewhere. Molly is right there. So embarrass them a lot, please. My wife Megan is also here somewhere. She's right there. So when I'm not here, I'm either off being a nurse, because that's what I do for a living, or I'm playing video games, or reading, or cooking. And I really just love Bible stories. And so I'm really excited about this series, Watch the Throne, because we're going to talk about Bible stories, specifically about some of the royals in the Bible. So we're going to jump feet first into one of those stories. So we're going to take a little trip. So come with me back to roughly 1000 BC, and we'll put ourselves into the story. So I want you to picture this, really picture it. You're sitting in the dark. A handful of your closest friends are around you. The desert sun is right outside, and you could have light and warmth, but instead, all you can do is hide in the shadows. You don't get stars at night. All you see is nothing because of the cave ceiling. You know there's a well nearby, and you could bathe and you could drink, but instead you sit thirsty. You are hungry, but you and your friends have to ration just a little bit of food that you have with you. You see, there's a man, and he is leading thousands of other men to kill you, and he is somewhere nearby. So all you can do is hide in the dark, dirty, hungry, and scared. And you question God. You ask where he is. You ask what you have done that is so wrong that he would put you through this. So much so that you are writing songs about it. And you cannot believe that you're here. The man hunting you raised you like one of his own. His son is your best friend. This man was your spiritual mentor and your life mentor. He taught you to fight. He taught you to pray. He taught you to lead. And now, he wants to kill you. So as you hide, you hear the approaching sound of soldiers. And you and your friends sink further back into the dark. And a shadowy figure appears at the mouth of the cave. Clad in armor, robes billowing out behind him. This, you know instantly, is the man that hates you, that wants you dead. And you're thinking, I'm cooked. He's here to kill me. Like, this is it. We're done. And suddenly, he spins around. He squats down. You realize that he isn't here to kill you. He doesn't even know you're in this cave. He needs to relieve himself. Look, I read the passage a couple times. People were talking about, like, it might mean he's napping. It doesn't. He was pooping, okay? So let's get that out there too. And he is clearly very occupied with it. Like, you know, when your dad takes his cell phone into the bathroom with him and it's going to go off. That's what's going on here. So your friends gather around you. They're whispering to you. Probably not the smartest thing in the dark, but whatever. Behold, the enemy is at your hand, and you shall do to him as it seems good for you to do. That's what God had told David earlier, and his friends tell him. The enemy is at your hand, and you shall do to him as it seems good for you to do. And you know all you have to do is kill him, and this whole nightmare ends. You can go back home, you can bathe, you can eat, you can see your family. So you sneak close. Your heart is pounding. You're aware of every little scrape that you make. You're trying to breathe silently. and you get close enough, you can strike, but something in you won't let you do it yet. So as you try to work up the nerve, and just to see if he's paying attention, you cut off the corner of his cloak. He doesn't notice you. So now you have the knife raised up. All you have to do is move it a few inches, reach out and strike him down, and all of this will be over. And you are so angry. And you are so scared. Don't you just hate a cliffhanger?
Yes.
Me too. Stick with me for a few minutes and I promise you I will finish the story. But I think you need some context. See, this story is about David, and it's found in 1 Samuel in the Old Testament. And if you have your Bible or your Bible app and you want to go to that book, I'll give you the chapter we'll be looking at soon. But what does the story about David, a teenager that lived thousands of years ago, mean to you? And, on the other hand, why am I telling you a story about somebody pooping in a cave? I'm so glad you asked. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been betrayed by someone? Have you had someone that you should have been able to trust? That you should have been able to feel safe with? Someone you have laughed with, shared jokes with, ate meals with, and they suddenly just turn on you. They hurt you. They spread rumors about you. Make fun of you in front of others. Physically attack you. Or have you been the one who should have been the safe space? Someone trusted you, loved you, relied on you, and you hurt them. They told you a secret and you spread it around because you thought that other people liked them more than you. Or they scored better than you on a test, and you were jealous, so you tell everybody you know they cheated. One way or another, whether you're wronged or the one doing the wrong, all you want is revenge. All you want to do is to hurt somebody, make them embarrassed or ashamed, or just to get back at them. See, I've been both people, and I'm sure you have too. We have all been the victim before. And if we're being honest, most of us have been the bully at some point. And this story can teach us a lot about how to respond when you're wronged and when you're in the wrong. When all you want is revenge and to do harm. All right, quick history lesson. Everybody good with that? All right.
Yes!
David ended up being king of Israel, but it didn't start that way. See, he was the youngest son of a shepherding family. He was small and good looking, but not kingly good looking. Saul was kingly good looking. He looked like Captain America. They were just kind of this scrawny guy. But God anointed David to be king. Later, David ended up going to war. He killed a giant named Goliath with a sling. I'm sure you guys have heard the story, and if not, check it out. It's a good story. He killed this big giant. He gained some fame. And if you want more history, we're going to have the Dive Deeper pack that you're going to get in your small groups. The leader will have, so you can go through some more of the history, some timelines, things like that. So if you're a big history nerd like me, you can do that there. But this is where it all started. David killed someone, Saul noticed him, and took him under his wing. He taught him to go to war, and so much more. See, Saul was David's spiritual mentor, his leader, his king, and his general. And eventually, he even became David's father-in-law. So now let's jump to 1 Samuel 18, 6 through 9. Now keep in mind, as you read this part, to Saul, David was another son, and he claimed to love him. So when the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing, with joyful songs, with timbrels and lyres. And as they danced, they sang, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. And then Saul was angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. They have credited David with tens of thousands, he thought, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom? And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. All right, so Saul was jealous. David was getting all the attention. He was now better liked than Saul. And have you ever been here? You have been trying your best, but the new kid on the team gets all of your minutes. Or maybe you got a 97 on your test, highest grade in the class. But now the kid from the other period is telling everyone he also got all the extra credit, and he got 103 on the test. Thanks a lot, Myron. I'm not holding in rich still, I promise. Or that person is dating the cute boy that you told them you liked. Like a total Mean Girls Regina George move. All right. We've all been there, right? We're so jealous of a friend that now we can't even stand to be around them. So from that day on, Saul took every chance he could to kill David. Most of the time with a spear, either thrown at him or stabbed at him, like several times, while David was just like playing his lyre, which is like this harp-like thing. Also, why David kept going back and just like playing the lyre in front of somebody who was trying to kill him, I have no idea, but he did. And I say this all as funny, but Saul was murderously mad. The Bible tells it as he was overcome with either an angry or an evil spirit, he wanted nothing but David's death. So he would chase David. He killed his allies, even if they were priests. So finally, David escapes. And this is how we ended up where we started, with David in a cave, hiding with his friends, terrified of this violent king who had been his second father. So let's jump forward to 1 Samuel 24, and we'll pick up in verse 4. We'll go through 7. The men said, "This is the day the Lord spoke of when he said to you, I will give your enemy into your hands for you to deal with as you wish." Then David crept up unnoticed and cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Afterward, David was conscience-stricken for having cut off a corner of his robe. He said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or lay my hands on him, for he is the anointed of the Lord." With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul. And Saul left the cave and went on his way. So see, David could have done whatever he wanted to Saul here. He could have ended his life. He could have been free from all the threats and the harassment. He could have played his lyre in peace without spears being thrown at his head. But he didn't. He spared Saul's life because it was the right thing to do. This is one of the many reasons, over and over in the Bible, David is called a man after God's own heart. See, David has God promised he could do whatever he wanted to his enemy. He could have struck Saul down, but instead, he chose the better path. And for some of you, this makes zero sense. You have been under the thumb of someone who is bigger and stronger and more powerful than you. You've been really hurt. And you think that the right thing to do here would have been to just end it. But this is where God's teachings for us are so different than what the rest of the world tells us. The rest of the world tells us to get even. It's like Cobra Kai. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Or it's Drake and Lamar, throwing diss tracks back and forth until someone buckles. Or Taylor Swift and Charlie XCX, or Taylor Swift and really anybody else. Or it's dropping bombs on people rather than attending to their needs as humans. The world says that the only way to stop violence is with equal or greater violence. The only way to beat your political opponents is to amass more power than them or scream louder than them. That if someone pushes you, you push them right back. But Jesus, who presents God's teachings to us in the most clear way, because he was, in fact, God, said something completely different. In Matthew 5:39 through 43, he talks about how you don't respond to evil with violence, but by turning it back on the other person. So if they slap you on one cheek, you turn and you give them the other cheek. Because then if they strike you again, they have to acknowledge you as an equal, and you've taken away all of their power. He says if they demand your shirt from you, you also give them their cloak. Basically, you illustrate how ridiculous they're being. And by doing so, again, you've taken away all their power and acted in the right. And then he finishes with this absolute mic drop in verses 44 through 45. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. See, Jesus told his disciples that he desired mercy more than he desired almost anything else. Now I'm going to pause for a moment. If one of you is in an abusive situation where your safety is in danger, don't stay there. This is not a call for that. Be like David. Get help. Get out of the situation. Talk to somebody. In this case, love for you will look like establishing boundaries. But moving back to the main point, Jesus taught us that love is the better way. That we respond to violence with forgiveness and love. See, David knew this truth from God's teaching before Jesus even walked the earth. And how much more did we see it from Jesus when he was here? When he told Peter to put away his sword and not to stop evil with violence. Because those who live by the sword do indeed die by the sword. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying for passivity. This is boldly bringing grace and love into a space where hate is, where the world tells you violence is justified. This is standing up, using love and grace to resist, to empower. So, let's go back to David. So what did David do next? David walked out of that cave, holding the corner of Saul's robe. And he called Saul out, saying, "How can you spread these lies about me? See, I could have committed violence against you, and I did not." I mean, how many times have you needed to be called out? Or, on the other side, how many times have you called somebody out? And it's so much easier to do if you're standing in the right, if you have the higher ground. So Saul, seeing David come out, knowing David could kill him, has to acknowledge David's point. He has to pray his forgiveness. And he walks away, allowing David to continue his journey towards the eventual throne. And God did eventually deliver David his promise. And Saul ultimately died in battle against somebody else. Because it is all in God's hands, and he will see his justice done. And for us, Jesus came with the better way, to respond with grace and to respond with love. So as you head into small groups this week, think about the times that you have been David. Think about who you still harbor hate towards, and get ready to release the anger and the violence and let them live while you also release any control they have over you. Because when you fixate on how you've been wrong, that hate, that wrongness still holds power over you. Let me repeat that. When you fixate on how you have been wronged, that hate and that wrongness still hold power over you. So what I want you to do is release it with forgiveness. And now here's the hard one. Everybody need a hard point? I haven't challenged you enough. Okay. Think of the times that you've been Saul. Think of the times you have wronged the people around you. You've put them in jeopardy. When you've caused them pain. Hold those people up to Jesus. Step into his forgiveness and ask for forgiveness of those people you have wronged. This is the only way to end the cycle of wrongdoing and mutually assured pain. To release it back to Jesus, to tap into his grace, his love, and ultimately his forgiveness. He's a reverend that I respect a lot. He took a lot of Jesus' teachings and he summarized them in a really poetic and powerful way. His name was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And he said this: returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night that is already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can.